A couple who have been married for 10 years and have no children are suddenly faced with the responsibility of raising a paralyzed child and wonder if they are ready for the task. One day, while their 4-month-old baby is sleeping, they are moved to tears by the dog's actions, and they think these miracles are God-given. Welcome back to the next story of Animal Dream Story. Subscribe to the channel and start an interesting story right away. The sound of a hand pounding on the door broke the quiet of the suburban space with its relentless urgency. John, immersed in an executive meeting for his startup, barely heard the sound at first. Meanwhile, his wife Lisa, who had just finished a difficult surgery as a dedicated doctor, was driving back to their beloved home on Jolin Street, oblivious to the commotion. After several more bangs on the door, John reluctantly ended the meeting. When he opened the door, the woman in front of him surprised him. His ex-wife was standing right in the doorway, clutching a baby wrapped in a thin blanket. John was surprised by her disheveled appearance and the urgent look in her eyes, so different from when they were together, and wondered, what purpose did she have in bringing the baby here? She looked tired and exhausted, as if she hadn't slept or eaten in days. John couldn't help but feel sorry for her. But what he wanted to know most was why she had come knocking on his door. Because when they were in a relationship, he knew her family was very rich. But what she said next left him completely stunned. "Please," she pleaded, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I can't take care of it anymore. It's yours from now on." John stood still, trying to process his ex's words. The baby, a tiny newborn wrapped in an old blue blanket, was fast asleep. The woman suddenly pushed the baby into John's arms, gave him some baby supplies, and hurried away, much to John's surprise. Everything happened so fast that John couldn't react, and he stared at the baby sleeping soundly in his arms, completely shocked. "Wait!" John woke up and called out, but it was too late. The woman had already run out of sight. John thought about chasing after her, but she seemed to have disappeared around a corner. He couldn't run around the street while holding a baby. John's heart was pounding as he looked down at the sleeping baby, feeling a mixture of confusion and fear. Just then, Lisa came to the door with an angry expression because she had just seen her husband's ex-lover coming out of her house and saw her husband holding a baby, causing Lisa to shout loudly, "John, what's going on?" Lisa's mind immediately thought that John was having an affair. Hadn't she just seen her husband's ex-lover coming out of her house? Seeing her husband holding a baby, Lisa was even more certain that her husband was having an affair. Without saying a word, John handed her a baby bag, and inside was a letter. They read it together, and Lisa knew that she had misunderstood her husband. The letter explained that the woman could not take care of the child. She believed that the child would be safe with John's family. She chose them because she knew that Lisa was a doctor and that her ex-boyfriend John was a careful person who could give the child the care it needed. The woman had given birth to the child 4 months earlier. Her family had gone bankrupt, and the child's father had abandoned them when he learned that the child was paralyzed from the waist down. It wasn't her fault, but the people around her treated her like it was. Giving birth to a paralyzed child seemed to make her look bad in their eyes. Too tired and unable to meet the child's needs, she had reached her limit. Through tears, she explained that she needed time to take care of herself. Although she was heartbroken by her decision, she believed that Lisa and John would provide much better love and care for her child than she could. She also revealed that she still watches videos of John talking about his family life and helping the community on his YouTube channel. And she also knew that John's family didn't have children yet, so she knew that the child would be raised and cared for by a perfect family. Along with the letter was another document, granting custody of the child to Lisa and John, and the promise later never to fight over the child, but to be allowed to watch the child from afar at the most important milestones in life. Before continuing the story, do you think little Rachel would be better off with John and Lisa? And don't forget to let us know which city you are watching from. The couple looked at each other with confused eyes, then looked at the child who had just woken up, crying, "Oa, oa," knowing that a creature needed their nurturing. That cry made Lisa's maternal instincts rise. She took the child inside, comforting her with the gentle whispers that she had also heard from her mother. Despite the shock and confusion, they knew that they had to take on this responsibility. As loving people who often help the community, They could not let a child suffer. Lisa whispered to the child that from now on, he would be their child with all their love and would no longer be lonely. The baby was an unexpected gift, and they knew that no one else, it was God who brought the child to their family. As time passed, the Browns gradually adjusted to their role as parents. They named their baby Rachel, which means you are a special gift from us. Although it was difficult at first, Rachel needed urgent health checks and monitoring of her condition. Lisa took a few weeks off work to stay home with her husband to care for Rachel. Luckily, the hospital allowed her to take the leave without any problems. They were still worried about Rachel's life because her lower body was paralyzed. They took turns staying up all night to care for the baby, as diaper changes and nighttime cries became a new routine for their family. After a few days of settling in, Lisa and John contacted a lawyer for advice on how to handle the situation. The lawyer spent a few days looking into it and then informed them that the baby was born exactly as the woman had written in the letter and that they had the custody papers, so they had nothing to worry about and could officially adopt Rachel. Lisa, out of kindness, agreed to legally adopt Rachel despite the difficulties. She deeply sympathized with the mother's situation, although she still hoped that one day she would return to reunite with her son. However, life had to go on. Little did the family know that another miracle was about to happen to their lives. One chilly day, while driving to get some milk for Rachel on a quiet suburban road, John suddenly saw something strange ahead, a small figure lying in the middle of the road. As he got closer, John saw a small dog shivering and scared. Without hesitation, he picked the dog up and brought it into the car to warm it up. When they got home, John and Lisa began to discuss the dog's future. John said that he was not sure if he could take the best care of the dog because Rachel was taking up all their time. But with their love of animals, they still decided to adopt the dog. They decided to take the dog, which they named Teeny, to the vet. The vet informed them that Teeny was severely malnourished but could recover. However, due to his health condition, the dog had to stay at the clinic for 4 weeks and see if the owner would look for this lost dog before officially adopting him. A month passed quickly, and when the Browns returned to the clinic, Teeny was still there. He was healthier, had shiny fur, and was full of energy. When he heard Lisa's voice, Teeny recognized him and was very happy. After finishing some paperwork at the clinic, they took the dog home. Another problem arose when Teeny barked whenever Lisa was near Rachel. This made John worried that Teeny might hurt the child. He considered finding another place for Teeny, but Lisa convinced him to give the dog more time. Eventually, John started to expose Teeny to Rachel, pushing her in a stroller and taking her for a walk every morning. The couple hoped that, with time, Teeny would get used to Rachel. Although life with a baby and puppy was not easy, the Browns' love and patience helped them get through it. They took good care of Teeny, and in return, the dog did not bark when he was with Rachel. Despite the difficulties, the house was filled with laughter as Rachel watched Teeny playfully tease her. The family gradually felt the joy of watching Rachel develop. One morning, John suddenly woke up to find Rachel having a seizure. They panicked and took her to the hospital. While waiting for the doctor's conclusion, John blamed himself for falling asleep last night. However, a surprising news appeared. After the test, the doctor announced that Rachel had a rare condition that temporarily paralyzed her legs. This meant that there was a chance that Rachel would recover and regain her mobility. This news made John and Lisa burst into happiness. Rachel's future door would be wider, and they imagined Rachel playing with Teeny like any other child. The family always makes jokes to encourage Rachel to move. Teeny also never leaves Rachel's side, always dancing whenever she is near Rachel. One night, when Lisa is tired and falls asleep on the sofa, and John is sitting at his desk, Teeny discovers a wolf climbing through the window and approaching Rachel's crib. The dog immediately springs into action. Teeny stands up all of its fur, growls, and stands between the crib and the wolf. John leaves his desk because he hears Teeny's unusual growls, and when he arrives, he witnesses the final moment the wolf leaves while the baby is still sleeping soundly. John quickly went to Teeny, who was standing guard next to the crib, while Rachel was safely in the crib. Tears streamed down John's cheeks as he realized the deep bond between Teeny and Rachel. When Lisa returned home, she found John and Rachel asleep in the room, Teeny curled up next to them. She gently sat down next to them, filled with gratitude and happiness for their little family. Despite their challenges, they had each other, and that was enough. Over time, Rachel's condition gradually improved. The temporary paralysis began to subside, and he took his first steps on his little feet. This good news brought great joy to the Browns. Balancing work, childcare, and raising Teeny became easier as the family settled into a new routine. Rachel continued to grow, with more confident steps and a bright smile that brought joy to the whole family. One sunny weekend morning, the whole family went to the children's playground 30 miles away. Rachel, now a mischievous little girl, chased Teeny around the lawn, her laughter echoing everywhere. Lisa and John sat and watched, their hearts filled with happiness. They realized that Rachel's unexpected presence in their lives was truly a blessing. They silently thanked Rachel's birth mother, who came to the door and handed the child to them. A few months later, the doorbell rang. Teeny rushed to the door, followed by Rachel. John, who was closest to the door, walked up and opened the door. When he saw the familiar figure of the woman, his heart almost stopped. When Lisa saw the woman at the door, she thought that Rachel's birth mother had changed her mind and had come to take Rachel away. Tears naturally rolled down her cheeks, and her heart ached. However, the woman did not enter the house. Instead, she left a letter on the doorstep and left, in which she explained that she had a long journey to New York and had the best job opportunity she had ever had. And at the end of the letter, she revealed that she was preparing to marry a man 10 years younger than her, and that she would definitely invite the Browns to the wedding and wanted them to bring Rachel along to witness their birth mother's happiness. That very day, another miracle came to their family. Lisa was surprised to announce that she was 6 weeks pregnant, and even more surprised to see John jumping with joy like a child and hugging Lisa tightly. He did not forget to thank Rachel and Teeny for bringing so many miracles to this small family. Finally, the Browns understood that from not having children after 10 years of marriage, to a stranger knocking on the door and leaving a child behind, to rescuing a lost dog, those events that came to their family were just challenges. With love for people and animals, there is no future difficulty that they cannot overcome. After watching this story, do you think helping people and animals is great? Please let us know. There are many real stories on the channel for you to enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to let us know you still love animals and stories about them.